Hey everybody, Josh Peck here. Hope you are doing well. I got a very interesting video for you today. There's been a lot of talk lately about strange spirals being seen in the sky. Well, I'm first going to tell you exactly what the most recent ones are. Then I'm going to tell you how they connect with a very weird 2009 sighting of an aerial spiral over Norway. And then finally, I'm going to conclude with spiral sightings that are still without explanation and remain mysteries today. Now, before we get into it, if you would, I would love it if you would subscribe, click the bell to turn on all notifications if you're viewing this on YouTube. If you're doing it on Rumble, follow us. That would be great. And I should mention, if you want all the show notes to this, I do make those available in a couple of different ways. First is Substack, which is joshpeck.substack.com. I have all the links to this in the description below, by the way. And there you can get all the show notes. It's basically like a blog post. And you also get the audio-only version of my videos and everything that I do. Some people don't want the video, they just want the audio. So I make that available at joshpeck.substack.com. Then finally, dailyrenegade.com. If you want the PDF that you can just download and have and keep and read basically like an article, then you can do that at dailyrenegade.com. Just become a member today. And the best way to do all this is to put both those subscriptions together. Then you get the best of both worlds. You get everything. And it really helps us out and keeps us going. Now, this is important to acknowledge and to talk about what's happening here with these spirals, because a lot of people are turning them into something spiritual and ascribing all sorts of meanings to them. Now, there are some with explanation, but again, there's some without explanation that we're going to talk about near the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for those not familiar, a few days ago on March 24th, 2025, people across various countries, including the UK, France, Germany, Poland, Russia, and others in Europe, reported seeing mysterious glowing spirals in the night sky. Now, these striking displays sparked widespread curiosity and speculation, with some wondering if they were UFOs or other extraordinary phenomena. But the explanation is a lot more grounded. These spirals were almost certainly, I gotta say almost certainly, but they were almost certainly caused by a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch. Now, the launch in question took place earlier that day at 1:48 p.m. EDT, that would be 5:48 p.m. GMT, from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, carrying out the NROL-69 mission for the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office. Now, after deploying its classified payload, the rocket's second stage dumped its remaining fuel into space as part of its deorbiting process. Now, this fuel, released at high altitude, froze into tiny crystals that reflected sunlight, creating this bright swirling pattern visible from thousands of miles away. The spiral shape comes from the rocket spinning as it vents the fuel, and this is a phenomenon often referred to as a SpaceX spiral. So this actually does have a name. People are very familiar with what this is. And this isn't the first time that such sightings have occurred. Similar spirals have been observed after SpaceX launches in places like New Zealand, Hawaii, and Alaska, and that's happened in recent years. The timing and location of the March 24th launch aligns with when and where the spirals were seen in Europe around 8 p.m. GMT or 4 p.m. EDT, lasting several minutes before fading. Now, experts, including the UK's Met Office, have confirmed this as the most likely cause, noting that the frozen exhaust plume spins in the atmosphere and catches sunlight, producing this weird ethereal effect. And I will admit, it does look very strange. When you watch the video, it almost looks CGI. It almost looks fake. But this does happen. So while the sight was stunning and it even looked otherworldly, it was a terrestrial event. It was completely explainable, and it was tied to a routine rocket maneuver rather than anything more exotic. But we are going to get into the more exotic ones in a minute. But first, I want to tell you, if you remember, the Norway spiral of 2009. When this happened, it blew up, and everybody thought that like a portal was opening or something. Because when you watch the video, and again, it does look fake. It looks CGI, but it's not. It does look like a portal's opening. So the Norway spiral of 2009 and the spirals observed on March 24th, 2005, these both share striking similarities, but they stem from different events. So both phenomena captivated onlookers with their eerie, glowing spiral patterns in the night sky, sparking intrigue and speculation. So let's break them down and see how these connect. So the Norway spiral occurred on December 9th, 2009, over northern Norway and parts of Sweden. Witnesses described a bright blue spiral with a white spinning tail visible for about 10 minutes. Initially, it fueled a lot of wild theories, UFOs, wormholes, even secret weapons. But the explanation soon emerged that it was actually caused by a failed Russian Beluga missile test launched from a submarine in the White Sea. The missile, a submarine-launched ballistic missile, SLBM, malfunctioned in its third stage, spinning out of control and venting fuel. The exhaust, released at high altitude, froze into ice crystals, illuminated by the pre-dawn sunlight, creating this strange spiral effect. The blue hue likely came from the specific propellants that were used, and the spiral's persistence was due to the stable atmospheric conditions and the missile's high altitude trajectory. Now, fast forward to March 24th, 2025. As mentioned earlier, the spirals seen across Europe were tied to a SpaceX Falcon 9 launch for the NROL-69 mission. After deploying its payload, the rocket's second stage dumped its remaining fuel during deorbiting, producing the glowing spiral as the frozen fuel crystals reflected the sunlight. Now, unlike the Norway event, this was a controlled maneuver, not a failure, but the visual result was remarkably similar, a bright, swirling pattern in the sky. Now, the connection between the two lies in the physics of rocket exhaust at high altitudes. So in both cases, a rocket released fuel or exhaust into the upper atmosphere around 100 to 300 kilometers up, where it froze into reflective particles. The spinning motion from a malfunctioning missile in 2009 and a controlled vent in 2025 shaped the exhaust into a spiral, and sunlight illuminated it against the dark sky. So the key differences are the source. So a failed military missile versus a commercial rocket. And the intent, accidental versus deliberate fuel dump. The Norway spiral's blue tint contrasted with the typically white or golden 2025 spirals, likely due to different fuel compositions. Beluga's solid rocket propellants versus Falcon 9's liquid kerosene and oxygen. Now, both events show how, human space activities can produce these unexpected visuals and can be often mistaken for something extraterrestrial or otherworldly. The Norway spiral set a precedent for interpreting such sightings, and the 2025 spirals fit neatly into that same kind of event. But not everything can be explained, and this is where it gets really interesting. So while most spiral sightings in the sky have been convincingly linked to rocket launches or spacecraft activity, there are a few cases that remain puzzling and lack a definite explanation tied to such events. No one gets into full-time ministry to make money. At least no one should. Given that, Daily Renegade accepts donations from those who care to help keep us going. Now, because Daily Renegade does not want to be told by the government what we can and can't say, we're not 501c3, so your donations are not tax deductible, but that's not why you're giving anyway, to get something back for yourself. Speaking of which, we here are never going to promise that if you donate, God will reward you with even more financial success. We're not about making promises for God here. But what I can promise is your donations are very much appreciated and help the continuation of everything we do here at Daily Renegade to reach the world with the truth of the Bible. Also, as many of you know, my son Nathan has had some very serious medical issues that we are treating with good, all-natural and holistic remedies. But of course, those are very expensive and are not covered by insurance, so your donations help go towards his health care as well. If you can't afford to donate, you can always donate your time in prayer, which is far more valuable anyway. anyway, let's be serious. So pray for our wisdom, pray for God's guidance for us, and that we never lose focus on what's really important, which is using Daily Renegade as a light of truth that the world so desperately needs right now, especially in these times. As always, thank you so much for your generosity, and I pray God blesses you greatly. So one of the strangest spiral sightings that doesn't fully align with a rocket explanation occurred on June 18th, 2021 over New Caledonia and Vanuatu in the Southwest Pacific. Witnesses observed a glowing spiral unfurling in the sky around 6 p.m. local time, lasting several minutes. The Association Calédonienne d'Astronomie initially couldn't explain it, noting its similarity to the 2009 Norway spiral, but lacking immediate evidence of any kind of rocket launch, which is crazy. So later, speculation tied it to a SpaceX Falcon 9 launch from Florida earlier that day, with the spiral potentially resulting from a fuel dump, but the timing and the distance, over 15,000 kilometers, raised a whole bunch of doubts about visibility, and no official confirmation pinned it definitively to that rocket. Atmospheric conditions or an untracked object could have played a role, and that leaves some uncertainty on that one. Now, another case is there was a Tunguska-like event with a spiral twist reported in Russia on December 26, 2017, near Chelyabinsk. Residents saw a bright object streak across the sky, followed by a spiral pattern and a loud explosion. So initially, it resembled a meteor, much like the 2013 Chelyabinsk event that most people are familiar of, or at least have heard of. But the spiral feature was really unusual. Russian authorities suggested that it was a meteor or space debris, but really, no specific rocket launch or reentry was conclusively matched to the timing and location. So the spiral could hint at a spinning object, but no debris was recovered, and the event's cause remains debated among researchers, with some proposing a natural phenomenon like a bolide with an odd trajectory rather than a rocket. Now, here's one of the weirdest ones. On January 29th, 2023, there was a sighting over Canada's Northwest Territories. Pilots and air traffic controllers observed two white lights moving in a circular pattern high above Yellowknife with no radar detection. The lights seemed to dance for several minutes before vanishing. Now, unlike typical SpaceX spirals, this wasn't a single glowing whirlpool, but it was a dynamic multi-light display. No rocket launches were reported nearby, and the behavior did not match fuel dumps or satellite reentries. Weather phenomena like ice crystals or auroras were considered, but the structured motion defied those explanations, leaving it totally unresolved. So we still don't know what that one was. So these cases stand out because they don't neatly fit the rocket or spacecraft mold. Rocket-related spirals, like those from SpaceX or the 2009 Norway event, typically involve a single luminous spiral tied to a known launch, with fuel venting at high altitudes, creating a predictable pattern. These unexplained examples either lack a confirmed launch correlation, exhibit unusual features like multiple lights or explosions, or occur in contexts where atmospheric or celestial explanations feel incomplete. So, could they be natural phenomena like rare atmospheric optics or spinning meteors, or something else entirely? Well, without hard data like radar tracks or debris, they remain open questions. So if you ever see anything like this, I highly recommend taking the advice of my very good friend, L.A. Marzulli. Rebuke first, ask questions later. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. And again, please check out the links in the description below. Support what we do. That would be great if you would give us a like, share this video, comment. Have you ever seen anything in the skies like this? And do you believe that these have natural or unnatural explanations? I'd love to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments below. And until next time, take care. Love you all. God bless. You know, if you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So if you're a renegade as well, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. You'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.